guys, it is a beautiful day out here, and if you've been around this channel very much, you know that I love to be in the kitchen, but honestly I also love to be outside, and our outdoor world is just as important to me as the indoor world because I use what I grow in the garden. One of them is behind me. Yes, I have multiple gardens. I use what I grow in the kitchen. So today, since we are in springtime and we're in a beautiful day, I wanted to walk you around. I wanted to show you how you can make your own potted trellis plant. And I wanted to show you a little bit of how I use my gardens. The trellis that I make for a potted plant, I use peas for this. You can also use other plants such as like a climbing vine. Nasturtium would be great. You could do sweet peas, you could do jasmine, you could do a lot of different things. But the post for that will be down below in the information box, and you can click on that, or I'm sorry, you can follow that link and get to see the entire post, the tutorial of how to make this DIY trellis for your potted plants. But let's go ahead and get started. If you have not yet, would you please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel? It really does help so that more people are exposed to this channel from YouTube and brings more subscribers. And so for those of you who are subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't, I would be so thankful if you would press that button and subscribe to the channel. Yeah. I wanted to show you a little bit of how I use my gardens to cook in the kitchen. I had made a similar post and video on this before to talk about how we do kind of homesteading in order to help our lifestyle for our son who has an autoimmune disorder. And so we have to grow specific foods, and some of those foods are actually harder to get in the stores. And so that can be a really great way or a really great reason to do a garden in your backyard. Other reasons are because you can control what is going into you. You can control the chemicals that are being used. And you can also, in a lot of instances, you can control the prices. The garden that is behind me, if you remember, a couple years back, I had talked about how we wanted to redo this space in the corner of our yard area and turn it into a garden. I was going to kind of make more of a, I don't want to say English garden style. I'm trying to think of what the right word is. It was a garden that you could walk through. There would actually be a path, but it wouldn't be the normal market garden where you just have rows after rows after rows of food, of plants growing. And this is going to be a little bit more creative, but it's been a while since I started that project and I haven't given you an update. And so I kind of wanted to show you where we're at now. It's not really a big growing season yet. We're just starting to get things off the ground this spring. So walking into our newest garden, my husband helped me put up these picket fence sections, and last year I was able to paint most of them. I still have one more to paint, but I just love these. They have been my joy in the summertime to look out the window and see this beautiful garden with a picket fence around it. Unfortunately, we can't just have our garden be surrounded by a picket fence. We have to put up this fencing here, which is almost completely up, but this part right here is not tightened and we need to secure that. So my husband also, as my birthday gift last year, made me this gate. It's kind of hard to see in the sunlight, but he made that for me to go on the front part of this garden. So coming in to the right, you'll notice we have a hill. Our garden is on kind of a hill, which is not ideal. Not recommend putting your garden on a hill, but I am just that type of person who likes to do things the hard way. So the top of this hill we use, and this year we're going to be doing corn up there, and then over on this side there will be a trellis with peas. And then I don't use the middle portion of the hill. That portion is way too tilted, and we have actually these beautiful, oh man, I can't remember the name of them, but these plants that grow every year right here. And they are actually really good for the digestive system of like livestock. And so I keep them there because they look beautiful, although some of these weeds will come out. But down here, I have started some carrots. It does not look pretty right now. And I have never had very good luck with carrots, so we're going to see how this goes. Over on this side, as I said, we're still in the beginning stages this spring. I have some cardboard that I had put there, let's see, last fall I put all of the cardboard down because this area did not do well. It was very shady, but I also wondered if it was just needing a little bit more attention for the soil. And so I went ahead and laid the cardboard down, and I am trying to do what you might have heard of as lasagna gardening or no dig method. There's so many different names, and they're all kind of similar. I have cabbage right over here, but I'm using the Charles Dowding method, and I will post a link to his videos down below. He basically puts cardboard down, and then he will put, in his case, he puts plain compost on top. This compost that I'm using is actually like a compost mixed with, well, I guess it would be considered compost. It is a mix of, oh man, I think it's like chicken manure and cow manure and wood chips. Eventually I will make my own compost. That is my goal. I am not at that point yet, but this year, by this fall, hopefully we will start having a system to start making our own compost. The reason I have not made it yet is because we use a lot and I've been trying to figure out how do we get a system down where we can make enough that we can, you know, provide enough compost for all that we need, or at least most of what we need. So right here, this area, I had my beans here last year, but up here in this corner, we have a little spring that flows through, and in the summertime, it kind of dries up, but it's great. It does continue to flow, really. It's just not as much so. Right now it's the cleanest water because it's all coming off of the hill. But this corner, we are getting blackberries, as you can see. We're gonna have to tear those out. This area right down here is our little flower bed. And I will be moving artichokes over nearby as well because I have to move them out of the other garden. But some of these flowers have stayed, and I had like sunflowers here with it. I had some dahlias over next to these last year, which I don't think they survived because I think that they might have rotted from all the rain. And so next year, if I do dahlias again, I will make sure to tear them out come the fall time. Trellis here, my garden arch. I had repaired it, and then over the winter another storm hit it hard, and so I think I am going to change the trellis, sadly. I really loved the trellis that we had, but it's just not gonna work out. This area is actually the worst off area because the water all floods in here, and you can tell like there's not a lot of things growing. In some of these areas you've got grass all over the place, but you can tell what will grow well sometimes by how many weeds there are. If the weeds are growing great, then not all the time, but sometimes, then you know your plants will probably have a better off time of growing. But I really need to build this soil up before we even use it. So this year it will probably become an area for some potted plants. And I think that's a great way to use garden space when you can't actually use it for anything else yet. So let's go to the other garden. Hey, duckies. Hi, girls. Hi, duckies. So this is our big compost pile. Just wanted to note that if you are thinking of trying like a no-dig method, make sure that you are using compost that is not fresh and hot, because it will burn the roots and kill your plants if it is hot. Compost might be extremely nutritious for the soil, but you want to make sure that it has sat, if you're using like cow manure, horse manure, chicken manure, that sort of thing, that it has sat for about 6 months so that it is not going to be hot and burn your plants. So there are some manures out there that are great fertilizers, like duck manure. We have ducks, and you can actually use that right away. It's not going to be hot. Also, I've heard that, is it llamas, or is it, what's the other one besides llamas? They look like llamas. Alpacas. I think it's alpaca poop is also not hot, and you can use it fresh. So, and bunnies. Bunnies is another one. So here is our massive wood pile, and this is about halfway gone at this point. I got this pile from the chip drop, which is a free wood chip drop off. So if there are like tree arborists trimming trees in the area, and you happen to be closer than like their normal drop off after they're done trimming, then you can sign up for this and they will drop it off at your place. And so I ended up having to wait quite a while for it, but I'll post the name of it in the information box just in case someone hasn't heard of it and they are interested in looking into getting some free wood chips, because these are great for mulching your garden or any beds really, and they're free, which is a plus. So I use the chip drop. And this is our other garden. This is how we started. Was during 2020, my husband built me these 2 raised beds, and I had never done anything like this before. And it felt like Christmas. He just gave me these raised beds, and I felt like, wow, like what can I do out of this? All these possibilities. And that's how it got started. So in this one here, I am trying to fill it with asparagus. Has been the goal for a couple years. I planted some babies last year. They did not survive. I went ahead and did some crowns this year, and we will see how those turn out. I also have some herbs. There's a little bit of garlic left in the corner there because we used to do garlic. That was the big thing in here. And I've got some parsley and, is that my oregano or marjoram? One of those over there. And then this is the strawberry bed. We had plastic here, which I finally took the plastic off. I felt, not just me, my husband and I both, we just did not see it doing much good, as we could not help get more soil as the soil moved over the years. You know, it will go down and you'll have roots showing on the berries, and the weeds still grew. Like they still would grow in the middle of the strawberries, and it was still hard to get the weeds out. And so I felt like I couldn't get to what I needed to get to, and we were still having weeds that would grow. And so it wasn't that helpful. So we tore it out, and I immediately put more of this compost on top, and then we will have a mulch on top of this to help withstand or to help fight the weeds that come. So so far I am very, very glad that we took off the plastic, because it will allow the strawberries to stretch and to reproduce more like they were trying to do, and we were preventing them from doing. And that's what we want. We want them to produce lots of strawberries. And so if they want to make more little strawberry plants, then that's okay. Over here, oh nice, the sun is starting to go down so it's easier to see. Over here is my official first no-dig garden. Woohoo! And so right here is my broccoli, all of my brassicas. Got broccoli, and then I've got a purple cauliflower. And next to them I have planted some onions. I just wanted to try and get enough this year to be able to make the salsa that my husband and I love to eat. There's also, let's see, cilantro at the end, yeah. And then on the next row, I did a lot of leeks, because if you've been keeping up, we have a son that has an autoimmune disorder, and one of the things that he has to avoid for that is onions. And so I use a lot of leeks, like in soups and dinners. And I don't know if you've seen the prices lately, but leeks are kind of expensive. And so this is why I do this. I can control what and how they grow, and what goes into us, and I can control how much I pay for it a little bit more. So most of these leeks I started from seed. There were a few that I just tried from Azure Standard. I also have lettuce over here. I'm really trying to figure out the lettuce so that it can be kind of a year-round thing, because that is something, you know, if you cover it, that you could have year-round. and I love doing salads year round. So this is it. We have a lot of work with digging out blackberries, and then we're going to be covering this area with the cardboard and preparing it in a few weeks for the tomatoes, to trellis those. And over here I've got my artichokes, which we will be moving to the other garden. And then this side will end up being pumpkins. Let's see, we have zucchini that I'll be putting over here. So maybe I'll give another update a little bit later. I couldn't help but come up here. Hey guys. Hi. Kitchen garden or potager, however you want to say it. And I've got, let's see, this is marjoram over here. We've got lavender. I've got a few tulips that I planted last year to get started, and a couple things coming up. I think one of them is a daisy. Let's see. Then over this way, I've got some more of some herbs. Got thyme down here. I've got the rosemary. I am just loving the rosemary more and more. The sage, which comes back beautiful, and I love when it blooms and it's purple blooms. I've got some celery. And then over in the back here, I added a couple leeks. Hard to see those, but I added some leeks just because this is a kitchen garden, and I do actually run out here to get things for cooking. And so, I mean, if you are wanting to do any gardening and you've never done it before, I would do something similar to this, where it's like you have a few flowers, you are able to get some herbs, maybe a few vegetables that you use often in the kitchen, like garlic or onions, that sort of thing. And that is a great way to start out. I do run out here like when I'm making soup, or I've done it when I'm making bread. I have that rosemary garlic sourdough loaf or sourdough bread. I will put the link to that video up above so you can go see that if you want. But I just love having this out here for my cooking, and nothing is better in the winter when you can come out here and you still have herbs like rosemary that for us stays all year long. So this is it right now. I have a bunch of stuff that will be popping up in the next couple months, and I did cover it with the wood chips, and so that has really been helping with the weeds. All right guys, that's it for today. I hope you guys are inspired a little bit if you like gardening or if you do not. But it is really, really wonderful when the season starts to change and I'm actually able to get into it again. So I thought I would share that with you, and I will be back again soon and give you some other inspiration from our farmhouse on the hilltop. You can check out the post that goes along with this video on how to make your own trellis for your potted plants. I'll put that in the information box below. And there's also tons of other gardening videos or einkorn videos or videos on our homestead that you can check out too. And I hope you guys are having a great spring. I'll talk to you again soon.